Well, what used to take just an international flight to Kiev and then a domestic flight to Zaporozhye here now takes, after flying into Poland, to take a train to the border, then about another 20 plus hours by train to go across the country of Ukraine. The front line here in the Zaporozhye district is only about 50 kilometers behind me, east and south. And once in a while we hear the sounds of the missiles and the fighting going on. And actually, in the last months, missiles have struck within 50 meters, 150 feet of their center and their offices. We've been working with Max and Anya here in the Zaporozhye region for many years, and so it's just a real honor to be back here during this difficult time, to be able to support them, spend some time with them, encourage them.
Well, Dacha used to be a small place for people who live in apartments, because most people in cities here live in apartments, to go out and grow some vegetables, maybe have some little summer house. So that's a typical dacha. But we remodeled it in such way that we can stay here permanently, and we have a separate facility so guests can come and stay with us here. So with the retreat center or renewal center, we are so happy because we can host guests, and we're happy to host Phil here. He used to stay in a hotel called Records. That hotel was bombed a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. It doesn't work anymore. And other hotels are in the same danger in the city. So we're happy to have this center, this place to host our guests. The stress, because of the war, the stress level is higher, and there is no way for people to release their stress. When you come here, and it's nature, it's the fields, it's the pond, this nature heals. It's an open area, you can see, and you're away from the city, from the downtown. It's on the edge, kind of, but the feeling is you're away from the city, and it helps people to release their stress, to improve their mental health, to connect with nature created by God, and in that way to connect with God Himself. Yeah, New Hope Center is a ministry that's been working with families in crisis before the war. Now we say everybody's in crisis. That's the reality in Ukraine. Yeah, all families suffer, all families have trauma. So we keep doing what we've been doing, working with parents and children. We have different classes for kids and for the children and for the parents to help them overcome the stress level and anxiety. We are just beginning to start a new ministry for older teenagers and young adults, because they need a purpose. They need to see a better future, not just the war that's happening now, to help them overcome what's happening inside. So we're helping them by coaching and mentorship, because they will be the future of Ukraine. Like, the war ends, and they will be the ones, young adults, young families, the future. So we want to support them now.
It was a real honor, a real privilege to be able to share with the team here in Zaporozhye that Maxime and Anya are a part of. And I was thinking about Jesus in the boat. We know the story well. He said, let's go to the other side. And on the way to the other side, something he forgot to mention was there was going to be a storm. And I was sharing with the team yesterday that Jesus is in our boat no matter where we're at. Jesus says He would give us His peace as we trust in Him, even in the middle of the storm.
My wife Anya and I were part of God's Family Church. It's a church plant that's almost 5 years, and with the beginning of the war, most of people left. But then slowly people began to come back. Now we have some new people, refugees that joined, and we began to grow, and we outgrew our initial facility. So a year ago we had to rent another facility. Now it's been a year. We keep meeting as a church, keep supporting one another, keep praying for one another, and it seems like we are outgrowing our existing facility. So we pray and meeting as a church as God commanded. Right here in this hall now can sit about 50 people, but right next door is a big hall that can sit up to 200 people. It's a little bit big for us now, but who knows, maybe that's our next stage. Well, first, it's amazing how many churches, when the war began to serve others, began to serve refugees, began to distribute humanitarian aid. And now we even have networks of churches, and we know one another and we help one another. And Slava is a good example of this. He's a friend of mine. 2 years ago, he drove from Kharkiv, that's a 5-hour drive, to Zap to meet with Phil and learn about mentorship. And interesting, he was going to use the materials just before the war. They got the facility, they lined up mentors, they had maybe 2 meetings, and then all of this had to stop because so many people left the place, became refugees. Now 2 years later, he has new team, but he has in mind all these materials and knowledge, and now he's going to develop completely new team with new people and still be in Kharkiv with a church. Kharkiv is only 30 kilometers close to the border with Russia. So it was bombed, attacked, still being attacked and bombed because of being so close. It's a hard place to minister. But still, pray for Ukraine. We're alive. This is God's mercy. This is help of so many people, donors, governments who help us because God keeps working here. God keeps keeping us safe, and we're really thankful for your support and for your prayers.
We thought it was really important as a ministry to connect personally with Maxime and Anya and some of our other friends here. And we just want to thank you for making that possible and being part of this ministry and praying for us and praying for the work we're doing in Ukraine and other parts of the world.